Hello there. We're just going to talk to you about the Computer Science A-Level that we offer at Helsby Sixth Form. The example that we use is AQA. We've been teaching Computer Science at Helsby High for a number of years now, so we're very well experienced in teaching this. Before you embark on a Computer Science course, you must have studied the GCSE Computer Science. The reason for that is you need to be able to have some advanced programming skills to help you complete the coursework. You also need to pass maths. This is again an important requirement because this is a significant part of the course involves maths, and you need to have the foundation that you gain from GCSE to be able to do it. In addition to that, you also need to meet the standard entry requirements for the sixth form. Computer science is a huge growth area for jobs. Technology is advancing year on year, and we cannot keep up with the demand for labour in this area. So by studying computer science, you put yourselves in a very strong position of getting a good career with longevity that will reward you well with high wages. The STEM career opportunities generally are huge, and anything that involves technology and other subjects such as science and engineering would really stand you in good stead. Computer science develops really strong problem solving and also analytical skills that can be applied in any subject. It's also widely acknowledged that even students who do not choose to pursue computer science later on at university, for instance, develop some fantastic analytical skills that can help them in any subject area. It complements a lot of other subjects, notably maths, physics, criminology and ICT. Cybercrime, for example, is another huge area for growth in jobs, especially in our country. In terms of the course content, there's a little image on the screen of the types of things that you would cover in this course. Some of this is a brief revisiting of some of the things that you would have learned in GCSE, for example, binary and hexadecimal, data structures, that sort of thing. And then we go on to look at a lot more advanced programming and higher level skills such as networking, systems development, functional programming, and communication, networking. And we also look at the wider areas involved in computing, such as the legal side of things. The programming language that we use in our school again is Python. We develop those skills with students from year 7, which means they're very well placed to be doing that within the sixth form, and it builds on your knowledge from GCSE. For many students, we will provide them with additional resources that they can work on over the summer to really ensure that their Python programming skills are as strong as they can be when they start this course, and it really does stand them in good stead. There are lots of fun and engaging programs out there that we can use to develop skills independently in the summer between years 11 and 12. In terms of the exam, there are 3 exams. Paper 1 is a practical exam, which is on screen. So students will sit in front of a computer. They're given beforehand what they call a skeleton program, which is a partially completed program, and then they're also tasked with completing that program, adding things, finding bugs, commenting on some of the code, etc. Ironically, a lot of students come out of that exam saying that they've really enjoyed it. Paper 2 is the theory exam, which is a written paper, so that would be sat in the hall, and that's based on all of the theory that we cover throughout the course. It asks you some of the theoretical aspects of the practical programming as well. And the final one is paper 3, which is our non-examined assessment. So an NEA or coursework is what you'd probably refer to that as normally. And that is a practical task that we spend a quite significant time completing. In terms of the NEA, it follows really the systems lifecycle model. So unlike other subjects, you decide on your own programming project. You decide what you want to program, you design the program, and you go away and write it. We often find the biggest problem for students is actually deciding what to do. Once they've decided on their program, then they're quite happy and they can go away and come up with lots of different ideas for that. But we do guide them through that process. So first of all, they analyse their problem. They then need to come up with a good design, and they document all of that using various systems diagrams. They would code their system, and that's the technical solution. They then go on to thoroughly test it and evaluate it and produce some user documentation. So it's a very robust coursework, and again, it really helps advancing skills that would help you moving on through your life in university or in the world of employment. We've had lots of different courseworks over the years. As I say, students pick their own ones. We've had one student developed a site for a booking system for his grandma's campsite. We've had simulations of a scientific nature, so students have looked at the trajectory of missiles, for instance. Some students have devised revision games or financial management tools. Some students have linked these in with their other subjects. It entirely depends on what you're interested in. It might be that you have someone in your family who is quite keen for you to develop a programme from them, and you can actually go away and do that. That would be a fantastic idea. Some students write computer games. This does require a high degree of programming skill, so we don't always encourage students to do this unless they are, incredibly gifted at the Python, because it is often harder than they anticipate it's going to be. Again, students have done some form of artificial intelligence, or you could use something like an Arduino board and link it in with some DT systems to develop a control system. Students have used things like databases, so they've used databases of questions and come up with different little exam quizzes that they could use with lower years to test them on maths or another subject that they're quite interested in. So the only sort of specification is that the problem's going to be sufficient enough to be able to give you some really good opportunities to show off your programming skills. So that's the challenge, is picking something you're interested in that would also enable you to show those off. In terms of the classes, we're very fortunate in that our subject is taught in really small groups. The largest we've ever had is around about 12 students, and that's really nice because it means that they can all get lots of individual attention. The staff are very well aware of their strengths and weaknesses and how to support them, and the relationships within the groups develop really quickly because they are small groups. You would be taught by myself, Mrs. Lindop, and you'd also be taught by Mr. Davis, who teaches the GCSE, so he is already aware of where your strengths are and also areas of possible development, and also you've got a good working relationship with him, so you're aware of how he operates, and that's really nice to help to settle you into the sixth one. We both deliver our own subject specialisms, and particularly the areas that we really enjoy teaching. If you love coding, you get a fantastic opportunity to learn some new skills, and you would also get a really solid understanding of the theory that underpins computer science. It will also help very well for university, apprenticeship, or a job. So we work very well in terms of developing students' independent skills. One thing I would say is don't expect to be spoon-fed. Like any language, it revolves around you practicing things, investigating things, and just having a go and seeing how you get on with these things. So the course very much requires you to be thinking independently, and those of you who have done Python programming before will be aware of that. Your teachers will deliver sort of generic skills, if you like, and then you need to be able to adapt them in a particular scenario. So you need to be good at problem solving. This subject goes well with pretty much all of the subjects, but as I've said previously, notably maths is a really good combination, as is physics. Some students who 100% know that they want to do something within technology industries choose to do perhaps a combination of the BTEC IT and the computer science A level, and you can combine different courses together. But I would only advise you to do that if you're absolutely certain that is the industry that you want to go into, because you would be narrowing your options. In terms of what students have said about the course, they tend to like the independent style. Students who like maths do tend to really love computer science because it's using their maths theory in a practical sense. They also enjoy the theory between the balance between the theory and the practical work, which is nice. And they do get a high degree of support from the teachers. We're always there to support them. On the run up to exams, they're doing lots of additional support sessions and such like. In terms of extracurricular opportunities, there are quite a few curricular opportunities that we signpost our students to. There is the Bebrus Coding Challenge, which is quite an interesting one. In previous years, we've had students competing in the BAFTA Young Game Development Competition. One of ours got to the final about 2 years ago, which was an amazing achievement. And there's also a really good website called Isaac Computing, and they run a number of different events throughout the year that students are signposted to. We also advise our students to complete a number of courses on Future Learn, which is a brilliant site with courses on all sorts of subjects, but they're quite focused on specific areas within computer science, and that's quite a nice enrichment opportunity for them to develop. This year we have had some sixth formers who have been offering little coding clubs to the year 7s and 8s. Previously we've run a Harry Potter coding club as part of a STEM programme, so there's lots of different opportunities, and in many cases we're driven by what the students themselves would like to offer us, so anything that you'd like to do we are open to consider. In terms of resources, you don't need to buy anything, you don't even need a computer at home, although I must say it would help because you'd be able to practice your programming. There are lots of facilities in school. E6, for example, you can use the computers there to do programming, and if our teaching classrooms are free and available, we're more than happy for you to come into them. All resources are provided. We also give you recommendations to a number of sites that are really useful, like Craig and Dave and Isaac Computing. We have an active Twitter account, and on that we tend to post information about the subject, information about wider opportunities, daft little things like revision videos and other things that students might be interested in, and that basically helps to raise their general awareness and knowledge of computing, rather than them feeling compelled to go and spend a lot of money on a magazine on a monthly basis. We send them the information of things that would be relevant, that would have helped to enhance their studies. We very much encourage you to be independent, and we do tend to use Teams to help you to access some of our resources. In terms of what you could do with this course, a lot of students go on to university to study a variety of computer science courses, such as data science or forensic science, using technology to help them. And some people go on to study completely unrelated courses. We have students who've gone on to do higher level apprenticeships who realised that studying is not for them after their A-levels, and who've decided that they would like to do an apprenticeship, so they're in the world of work whilst also gaining qualifications, and quite often they're funded to do a degree. And we also have other students who've gone straight from sixth form to gain employment in roles such as a technician or supporting some form of technology in a variety of areas. If you have any further questions about computer science, please don't hesitate to come and speak to Mr Davis in E11 or myself, Mrs Lindop, normally around E2 or E12, my teaching classroom, and we can give you a little bit more information about the course. Thank you for listening.